Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going over my October, early November, or spooky season wrap up. These are the books that I read through the month of October and part of November. And these are also the books that sort of got me back into reading this year. I was pregnant from December of 2023 until September of 2024. And during that time, I could not read a damn thing. You could not pay me to read a book. I tried many times. Usually they were cutesy mangas that I would pick up and I'd get through them, but they weren't anything crazy, right? I did pick up a couple novels here and there when I felt like it. Yeah, but my pregnancy brain just didn't allow me to read. So these are the books that got me back into reading after this forced book slump that I was in. I started off my spooky season readings with Tender is the Flesh. This is a fairly well-known horror novel. I feel like it's not something that I think everyone would love. I really enjoyed it though. I think I gave this about 3 stars. And I I've heard so many people say, "Oh, I stopped eating meat after this. This book sat with me for so long. I had to take a break from reading. I this, that, and the other thing." It didn't hit me that hard. I will say I was a little underwhelmed. In the end, I've heard so many people be like, that ending was wild. That was crazy. And it was. It wasn't lighthearted by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, 3 stars. It's a story about cannibalism. It follows Marcos, I believe his name is, and he works in a meat processing plant that used to process animal meat for consumption and now processes human meat for consumption. If you're into horror books, it's a very short and sweet. I think it's possibly considered a novella. Don't quote me on that. But it wasn't bad. It had been on my TBR for an extensive amount of time, so I was happy to clear it from my TBR. After reading Tender is the Flesh, I picked up Mermaid Saga by Rumiko Takahashi. This is a manga. It's not an omnibus, which I thought it might have been. I thought it might have been a multiple volumes in one kind of deal. Nope. This is, I would say, a collection of short stories about 2 characters, both of which have been affected by the consequences of eating a mermaid. Okay. I unintentionally picked up another somewhat cannibalistic story. That was not I did not plan for that. My husband judged me heavily for that. So you don't have to. Don't worry. I crossed that bridge. Yuta and Mana both have consumed mermaid flesh in one time or another and are dealing with the consequences of that. Typically, that would mean that you become this lost soul demon type being. But for them, it meant immortality. And they didn't really want that. But that's what they got. So it is a collection, I would say, of short stories following these 2 characters, and I enjoyed it. I think I rated it 4 stars. I would be interested in picking up the second one because there is only 2 volumes of this. They're not anything crazy. I think it is categorized as like a horror manga, and I wouldn't disagree with that because there is quite a bit of gore and like action, I guess you could say, but it's just I don't know. This isn't a book that I sought after. A lot of mangas I see online, I hear reviews about them, and I'm like, I got to go pick that up. This I just happened to stumble upon when I was at Schuler's and I was in the used book section, and it's practically like new, and so I was like, I'm gonna pick that up, and it was decent, 4 stars. I am working on growing my horror manga collection, anyways, so I'm not upset about it. After reading Mermaid Saga, I did pick up Satan's Affair by H.D. Carlton. This was the last book in the universe that Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline and Where's Molly, all of that takes place in that I hadn't read yet. I am a pretty big fan of H.D. Carlton's. I did really love Hunting Adeline and I enjoyed Where's Molly and Haunting Adeline. I haven't read any of her other books. Um, and I didn't finish this book. I'm very sad to say that because I am a fan of hers. I think Mainly I didn't finish this because I know Sibby. I've been introduced to her. I knew the plot of the story. I knew the twist of the story. And so um it just I just didn't really get anything out of it. Which is not bad. It wasn't bad. It definitely was kind of obvious that it was one of her earlier written books. The writing in it was just not my favorite. And at the end of the day, again, I didn't need anything from the story. I didn't need the information it was providing. I knew the twist at the end. I knew where it was going. I knew where it came from. I knew where it was going. What is it? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. I knew all of it. I didn't need this. If you're like, wow, I want to get into H.D. Carlton's entire backlog of books, yeah, start with this. However, this book didn't really do much for me. The second to last book that I read during my spooky season TBR, and actually the last book that was on my planned TBR for October, this was just supposed to be my October TBR, but it went into November, was Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue, which I also love Harley LaRue. I picked this up at Schuler's. It was traditionally published earlier this year, and I couldn't pass it up when I saw it. I read Harley LaRue's Loser's Duet. I actually haven't finished the second one, but that's okay. That's fine. I will say that I enjoyed the writing in this a lot more, and I think that is due to it being traditionally published. I find that when I read independently published novels, I tend to be a lot less a fan of the writing. And I think it's more so of the editing. And I ate this up. I loved this so much more than I thought I would based on how much I liked her other books. I liked them, they're not bad, but the writing in this just hit a lot more for me. I did rate this 3 stars, I want to say. I enjoyed it. It was not bad. I might have rated it 4 stars. I'm kind of blanking. It follows Leon and Ray. Ray has moved back to her hometown where Leon is currently residing, and he is actually a demon. This is a demon romance. I told you it was like my spooky season Halloween autumnal TBR. It I wasn't going to read normal romances. That was the exact time to not read normal romances. It was good. I wasn't mad about it. Okay. I wasn't upset about it. It sucked me in. Took me a little bit to get there, but oh, hi. Once I was in it, I was in it, and I was happy about it. Okay? It was not bad. I cannot complain. Very last book that I read for my October, early November autumnal Halloween TBR, the last book in this wrap up was A Soul to Keep by Opal Rain. Funny story. When I picked up Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue, I thought I was picking up this book. So when I went out to a pop-up shop for a local bookstore and saw this, I was like, I might as well pick it up. And so I just read it. Right after I finished Her Soul to Take, I started A Soul to Keep. And again, independently published books aren't my favorite thing ever. And not because they don't have amazing stories to tell. That's absolutely like, it was a really unique story. The writing just trips me up in a lot of ways. This book, how many pages was this? Over 500 pages. 530 so pages. And it was about 200 pages too long, in my opinion. And it was also incredibly rushed at the same time. Like we spent the whole book with all this buildup, and it is a fantasy. So there was some world building in it. I totally get that. I don't read a lot of fantasy, but I read some fantasy. So I get that. But there was just the middle of it kind of bored me in some ways. That being said, I enjoyed it. I rated it 3 stars. I liked it. There were like, it was one of those books. It's one of those books that I saw on TikTok, and I saw a line from it or a plot or a trope, and I was like, I'm picking that up. And so it's been on my TBR for over a year. I needed to pick it up. I thought I was reading it when I picked up Her Soul to Keep or Her Soul to Take. See, it's so easy to switch up the names of these books. 3 stars. I'd recommend it if you're into monster smut, romance, demon romance books. Not bad. Not upset. So it is the next day because Elliot decided that he was not going to sit anymore for the very last bits and pieces of the outro of this video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're interested in seeing more, please hit subscribe, give a like, share with a friend, anything you're interested in. Follow me on Instagram. My socials pretty much everywhere are Nadia's novels. I will link those down below. And let me know down in the comments what books you are reading for the Christmas season. I know I don't typically have a whole lot of books planned for the Christmas season just because it's super busy, but I always like to see what everyone else is reading. Yeah, I will see you in the next one. Yeah. Ah. Ah. My baby's working on making noise. You can't tell. He's really good at it. He's really figuring it out. Starting off with tender is the flesh. Yeah. In some ways by it. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear him, but he's really learning his voice. He's figuring it out today. I got into mermaid flesh. So I know. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Yes, I am. Uh-oh. We're nearing the end of this week window.